It was a Saturday. We were in the convention center. We passed the tattoo artists and we passed all the leathers. We went through to where the Hells Angels had a booth set up. And right next to the Hells Angels booth was a small booth. They're a Seventh-day Adventist group, found a way to witness to bikers.
I became a Seventh-day Adventist in 1994 and thought to myself, you know, rather than sitting inside of a church where motorcyclists are probably not going to come in, it's time to go out to them. And that's how we started.
As I was walking through, I saw a large banner with 3 angels. On the wall, I looked up and I thought, 3 angels? That's Seventh-day Adventist symbol. And I couldn't believe there was Seventh-day Adventist in the middle of a bunch of beer drinking and partying and like I said, Hell's Angels on one side and Devil Dolls on the other.
I guess it all goes back to maybe my early childhood. My grandmother always told me that, look at the calendar. She said Saturday is the Sabbath. So from there, I guess the seed was planted in my life. And then as an adult last year, I knew that my husband Kevin was raised Seventh-day Adventist, and it just grew from there. The truth just came out and I just went with it and it felt good. It felt natural for me.
The truth of the seventh-day Sabbath, the truth of what happens when we die. All these truths that I had never heard by being a Catholic, by being at the Foursquare Gospel Church, that changed my life.
Second of all, I really wasn't sure what these guys were about, although I didn't tell him that at the time. And so I sat back and I watched them for about a year. Just watched to see what they were doing, if they were who they said they were. And after a year, I became convinced that yes, indeed, they were genuine, that they had a mission, and it sounded like something I wanted to be a part of.
I'm the type of guy, when I come up to a stoplight and there's a Harley beside me, I'll roll down my window because I love the sound of a Harley. So I told them that, and they said, can we get this ministry going? I said, let's do it. And so they got the bylaws, and it was passed by our church board, and pretty soon we had 4 or 5 members in our church that got involved with the Sabbath keepers.
I was raised an Adventist. I knew the truth. And when I was older, I kind of disappeared because of things that happened in my life. I started riding motorcycles about 8 years ago.
It's really exciting because this is an area, you know, pastors in their white shirts and black suits and ties can't reach these kind of people, but these guys can.
When I found the Sabbath keepers, my heart jumped because I knew there was a message and a way back for me. Not only doing what I like to do, but also being part of their ministry to take the Word of God out to those people who really, really do need to hear it again.
You know, not all the time will people know about Jesus by stepping into a church, but even in my hobby, I can talk about Jesus. And, you know, somebody who has the same interest in me might be able to listen, might be willing to listen to me, where if I invite them to church, they may say, I don't want to go to church. I don't know what the church is. I've never been in the church. it was one of the comments that was made to me by Kevin when we saw him up in Street Vibrations last fall. He couldn't believe this was the church that he had grown up in.